That's right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing? Tell me if you're watching on Facebook Live this morning. Say good morning, Benny. Oh, and you too. How you doing, everybody? Hey, it was a weekend, and now we are here with Monday. I don't know, do you like Mondays? You know, like a 5-year-old said, work is great, school is great, but do you have to go every day? Well, yes, we do, Penny. And Penny is right here with us. Penny got styling here. I mean, she looks gorgeous. They even put a little bit of ribbon in her hair here that's still in there the day after she got groomed. So she's looking lovely here today. She goes, everybody can just say, feed me another snack, will you please? Yes, we've got the snack stealers right here. Where are they? Oh, yes, there we are. The snack stealer. And we've got the snack dealer here this morning. And I am the snack dealer. And she is the snack stealer. So let's get ready to rumble right here on WCRS Radio. Ah, man, I tell you what, I had a great weekend. What did I do? I ate out. That's exactly what I did. I ate out. Where'd I go? Friday night, Nagoya. Had a great time over there. That was rather fun, and the food was delish, and had some leftovers, so it was kind of nice. Then Saturday night, we went to McLean's Public House. You know, they serve Scottish food and whatnot, and men are running around in kilts. Woohoo! And they had some lovely music. Really, really nicely done place. Best thing about it, no rush to get in and out. That was very, very nice. They had a good crowd there, but they also have a huge facility. I was impressed. I had no idea they had room for all these people. But if you'd like a little Scottish food, like my friend had, what'd she have? Oh, cottage pie. No, it's not made with cottage cheese, but cottage pie, shepherd's pie, bangers and mash, all those favorites. Now me, I opted for a hamburger that had been soaked in Guinness. Rather delicious. It was actually a cheeseburger. So, and they have those lovely, potato chip fries. I love those. Those are my favorite. So, anyways, it was great. Had a good time, and highly recommend both places as a place to go chow down and have some friendly conversation and enjoy yourself. So, happy Monday. We've got everything this morning, from a serious local story about accountability to artificial intelligence answering 911 calls. Oh my God. A little South Carolina politics. Candid camera. Actually, candid microphone. Do you know about that one? And apparently it is the day to officially be allowed to be lazy today. So good morning, Greenwood. Grab your coffee, maybe your tea, because it's time for coffee, chats, and community with Coffee, Tea, Penny, and me. Woo! All right, so let's go ahead and check out the weather as we get started here this morning. What is the weather? The weather will be whatever the weather wants to be. That is for sure. Right now, it is 78 degrees out there. Feels like 78. Highly unusual that the temperature and the feel-like temperature are exactly the same. We are headed for a high of 91 today, a low of 72. A mix of clouds and sun. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. So that's what we are looking for. And I guess that's about it. Tuesday, we're going to amp it up even a little more. High of 95, low of 72. However, we are going to increase our possibility of a shower or two up to about 35%. However, on Wednesday, back down to 95, 1 whole degree down, and a low of 73, and showers are out of the area, as is Thursday, although we're going to be warming up. 96 on Thursday, 97 on Friday, 96 on Saturday, and Sunday right at 95. Looks like we may get some rain going into the weekend. So there you go. That's kind of where we are at. So that's the weather, folks. Whether you like it or not, whether you be hot or cold, that's the weather report from WCRS, the official weather report, I might add. All right, now we've got a local story that I'm sure many of you already know about, but for those of you that don't, I wanted to make sure that you know about it. Greenwood, if this is from the Greenwood Police Department, Captain Matt Cogman was charged with a DUI by the Highway Patrol Saturday evening while off duty. He is a 16-year Greenwood police veteran. He is a Medal of Valor and Purple Heart recipient after being shot responding to a domestic violence incident. However, Police Chief T.J. Shadone terminated him early Sunday morning. Now, keep in mind, this happened Saturday night. And early Sunday morning, I think it was something like 2 a.m., Police Chief Shadone terminated him. The department specifically acknowledges the DUI remains as an allegation, and Cogman is entitled to due process. The chief's position, officers are held to a higher standard on and off duty. So I was thinking about that, and I wondered where you are on that. What does accountability look like when someone is in law enforcement, is accused of wrongdoing, but hasn't yet had his day in court? You know, I think that is a question. I don't know. I don't know all the particulars. I think in the release it said something about after the chief reviewed all the facts, he decided to terminate him. But should termination be immediate, or is suspension or administrative leave pending further investigation sometimes the better course? That is the question. 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. Should he have been terminated while it is still an open case? I don't know the answer. I only bring that up just because I think it deserves to be brought up. So what does accountability look like when someone in law enforcement is accused of wrongdoing but hasn't yet had his day in court? And should termination be immediate, or is a suspension or administrative leave pending further investigation sometimes the better course? I would leave that as a question. You can weigh in on that on Facebook Live, 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. Would love to know what, I guess I could put it on me, what you think about it. So, it's a question, and everybody's going to see it a little differently, I know. And the Police Chief T.J. Shadone is the one that had to make that decision. And, you know, then there are the additional stories out there about other things that have happened in this case, and we are not privy of knowing. So I'm going to leave it that he was charged with a DUI. He has been terminated from the Greenwood Police Department. Those are the facts that we know. Anything else may be known, but is not publicly known. So that is where I want to leave it. But I would be interested in your opinion about this issue. should he be terminated? Should he have been terminated while he has not, quote, had his day in court? I don't know the answer. Just asking you this morning. It's a big story here in Greenwood. Nobody likes to see anybody get stopped for DUI. The only thing I can say is that it is a good thing. It is a good thing that nothing else happened. Nothing else happened. I mean, he wasn't in a car accident or this type of thing. So, 864-332-9355. We do have people weighing in on Facebook this morning, Facebook Live at WCRS Radio. As I'm not going to get into the depth of it. I just put it out there because that's the information that we have. So I appreciate everybody getting in on it. I love to have your input. Love for y'all to discuss back and forth right there on our Facebook Live page, WCRS Radio. Okay, so that is that story. And if you'd rather comment to me privately, you can text or call 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. Let me know what you're thinking this morning. Bing! You've got mail! You remember that? Ooh, what was that used to say? You've got mail. I don't remember, but that used to be the thing. Back when the internet was new and fresh, it was a babe, and we were so excited for these little bings. Now we get all these bings, and we're darn tired of them, aren't we? Yes, we are. But anyways, I would love to hear from you. 864-332-9355. All right, another story here that I thought was worthy to talk about here this morning is... Would you like to have AI answering 911? Would you like to call in and have a voice say to you, 911, what's your emergency? I don't know about this, folks. Well, this is a story that actually is happening in New Orleans. New Orleans has begun using AI in its emergency call system. And this is an article from the New York Post, which was actually picked up from a local New Orleans paper. It says it isn't simply replacing dispatchers, but it is intended primarily to triage certain calls when human call takers are occupied, including repeat low-priority situations. Oh, yeah, your call's not important. Bing! There's AI talking for you. You know, the article brings up several good points. Would you, if you are in a high state of anxiety, let's just put it that way, maybe your English isn't that good, and when you're stressed, it's really bad. Do you want to have somebody, an AI, trying to interpret what you are saying? I think that's the first thing. The potential benefit of it, of course, is overwhelmed 911 call centers, staffing problems, repetitive callers, and quicker prioritization. Yeah, but how does 911 know whether my emergency is more important than another emergency, right? Well, they say they have been able to do this. Potential danger are as I said, your accent may not be good English, understandable English, frightened callers, children, elderly people, someone unable to speak clearly. And then there are those coded requests for help when somebody has been abducted and they have the opportunity, quote, to order a pizza, or some of these things that they talked about in the article that a human can detect that, no, they're not really they didn't call 911 to order a pizza, they're in distress. And some of the emotional cues a human might recognize that an AI could not recognize. So 864-332-9355. I don't know about this. I mean, maybe we need to have a low-level 911 call and a highly emergency 911 caller line. I don't know. Maybe when you call 911, the one thing I hate about life is you call a company, press 1 to place an order, place 2 to talk to somebody, press 3 for a directory of our employees, right? We get all these different prompts. But maybe 911 needs that. Here you have somebody in an emergency situation and they can't figure out which press do I press? Number 1, number 2, number 3. 911 is such a valuable service. I don't know whether, I'll use the words, you can trust AI to really make those decisions. You know, every time I use ChatGPT, there's this little thing at the bottom and it says, ChatGPT can make mistakes. And that's how they qualify everything that they answer with or anything else. Be sure to check your facts. ChatGPT can make a mistake. And believe it or not, I'm sure you do believe this, I use ChatGPT sometimes for research and helping do some tasks that I repeat. And you would be surprised, you would not maybe be surprised, or maybe you would be surprised, how many times I have to say, what? That's not right. Check your facts again. ChatGPT goes back and comes back. You were so right. Thanks for correcting me. So I wonder how confident one would be. Now, in New Orleans, they supposedly have over thousands of calls every day. I have no idea how many calls we get at our 911 office. And, you know, there is a non-emergency and a emergency number. Unfortunately, I don't think they actually promote the non-emergency number here in Greenwood. I think that would be something that would be helpful. Anytime I've called 911, if it was not an emergency, I always start out with, this is not an emergency. I just need to tell you something or something like that. But I don't even know the non-emergency number. But maybe we need to start promoting the non-emergency 911 number so that people could call that and leave information there. But what do you think? Would you like to be talking to AI? No, we talk to enough AI as it is. I kind of agree with you. Let's see. Anybody weighing in on Facebook on AI this morning? Let's see. Stephanie, she's with us here this morning. Has anyone taken into account AI taking over so many jobs and how that affects the unemployment rate? Well, yes, that is a question. I guess the question for the 911 office is, are they only budgeted for X amount of people, and that's the most that they can have in their office, and so this is a way to deal with the overflow. They say they get over 1,000 calls a day, and some are huge emergencies, and some are little emergencies, not really emergencies. Now, James just says, more cause for data centers. I fail to see where having a data center would be a reason to, I don't understand the connection, James. If you want to explain it, you can explain it. You know, data centers is down a different rabbit hole. Fortunately, right here in Greenwood right now, we are in a moratorium. I think that's a good thing till we understand. And I also want to say, I don't think anybody is absolutely against data centers. We realize it's the future, but I think the placement of data centers is important. You know, I was talking, I'll go down this rabbit hole for a second. I was talking to somebody from outside of Savannah, And they were telling me that unbeknownst to the people of this community, which was right outside of Savannah, that they put in a data center, or a data center is being put in. It is, I want to say, 200 feet from one school and 500 feet from a new school, or vice versa. But anyways, very close to the schools. And the people were upset, but the deal was already done. So I think while data centers can have a place, I think they need to be placed in a place where they are not affecting schools, wildlife, people. That is the thing. And I don't think anybody wants an area to look like what they've got up there in Virginia, where they've got rows of data centers and they're taking over the community. So let's see what somebody else is saying here. Then we got to move on. I don't think. What do we got? If we use more AI, we need more data centers. It goes hand in hand. For the record, I'm not against data centers. I'm for responsible data centers. Okay, that's what James says. That's true. But what do you actually think? Just about the fact of using AI for call centers, such as not call for emergency 911, not call centers. We all know we're talking to AI. You know, when AI has a foreign voice, though, isn't that something? All right, I'm moving on here this morning. 864-332-9355 if you want to call. If you want to jump in on our Facebook page, we got lots of activity going over there. Love to have your company, whether it's on Facebook Live or on the telephone call-in number 864-332-9355. FYI, I'm enjoying my coffee in the snack dealer cup this morning, so bottoms up, everybody. All right, so let's talk more about my next topic. But the question is, trust of AI. That's one question. Trust of AI. When ChatGPT always says at the bottom, they may make a mistake. Be sure to check your facts. That makes me worried when we're dealing with emergency human calls. All right, so moving along here, I got another story I want to share with you here this morning. I thought this was an interesting one. Scout Motors. How close is too close? Scout Motors has just hired Derek Pugh for the Richland County Council Vice Chairman. Derek Pugh has taken a community affairs position with Scout Motors. He previously did support Scout-related matters as a council member. He seconded the 2023 motion approving the county's incentive agreement. More recently, he abstained from a July matter related to Scout and disclosed the potential connection. And he says, this is Derek Pugh, says he will follow disclosure, compliance, and ethic requirements. Scout Motors says his community knowledge and Blythewood ties made him an attractive hire. And as we all know, Scout has received substantial public incentives, making scrutiny of the relationship understandable. So here's your question for today on this one. There is an obvious reason Scout would want somebody who knows Blythewood, knows the community, and knows government. But when you're simultaneously an elected official, where should that line be drawn? I think that's a great question for all of us to contemplate. We see quite often the potential for being too close or wanting to see your company succeed. So that relationship can be an issue. So do you think that although it was a great hire for Scout Motors and probably a great position for Derek Pugh, Is that too close? Does that give them an in securing, if they need it, more funding, more zoning request changes, any of a number of things? I would say there's a possibility there. And how do you really separate it? Well, you should separate it by that person, A, recusing themselves from the discussion, and of course not voting on their county council down there. But this is a question I think we're dealing with not only down there in Blisswood with Scout Motors, but we see it all across the state. In fact, all across the United States. There's not a day goes by that a story doesn't pop up that you go, is that really good? So I just thought we would mention that this morning because it is one that has just happened and I think deserves some thought process. We'll be watching that story to see if anything comes of it, if there's any pushback or not, because I find that an interesting story. I think there's a lot of times, even here in Greenwood, where we have questions. So it is something to consider. I will say here in Greenwood, most of the time, I think people recuse themselves, and I think that's what they should do. They also should not vote on the issue. So, 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. Anybody like to call in this morning and give us an opinion about... You know, the thing about it is this is removed from us, isn't it? It's removed from Greenwood, but it's in our state, and it has to do with Scout Motors, and we know Scout Motors, I'm just going to give them a little dig here because Scout Motors is building their facility here, but they put their nice offices and everything in Charlotte, North Carolina. So sometimes I think you can't have everything always. But if you try sometime, you can get what you need. And maybe that's what Scout Motors is thinking. They try sometimes, they can get what they need. And I know they're excited about this hire. And I know that he is excited about his new job. And that, of course, is Derek Pugh. All right, that's a story that I think deserves some thought process. If something comes to your mind, go ahead and pop it on Facebook there or text or email me. By the way, I need to tell you something. I am very proud of WCRS. Nah, we didn't get any award. I just thought I'd throw that out there. No. We have had some issues with our transmitter, and I had an excellent guy come up here to Greenwood. He had to travel a pretty good ways to get here, but he came, he checked out the transmitter, and now WCRS, the original 1450 AM, is out there broadcasting at full power, and we are thrilled to tell you this. I am very thrilled to tell you this. So not only can you listen on 98.5 FM, you can also listen on 1450 AM. Now, I tell you this because sometimes, depending on where you are in the county or outside of the county, the AM station carries further in one direction, the FM carries in other directions. So if you have AM and FM, I highly recommend that when we start to fade on the FM, click on the AM and see if we're coming in loud and clear over there. I am thrilled to have the AM back pumping it out at full power. Of course, that means my electric bill's going to go up, but what would I do? What would I do for my folks on WCRS? And of course, if you're an advertiser, that means your signal's getting out there further too. 98.5 FM, most people listen over there. But for those of you that like AM, and I challenge you to tune over to the AM and hear the difference. It is very different. Still 98.5, still 1450, but it is very different, the sound. So if you want to check it out, I would love for you to do it. Let me know what you think. You can, as I always say, call or text 864-332-9355. That is just a little announcement, but makes me proud to know that we're all cooking on all cylinders here on WCRS. All right, now tomorrow is the primary vote for the Senate race. I don't know whether you early voted or whether you are still making up your mind. I know a lot of people have been very much in flux on this race, and the race, that's right, you are listening to WCRS on the radio, and we are joined on Facebook Live by WCRS Radio. It is 10 o'clock in the great city of Greenwood, South Carolina. I don't know whether you've made up your mind, whether you've spent some time investigating. Are you totally exasperated about it? Really exhausted and don't give a crap? But this is an important election. Tomorrow is the primary voting, and we'll get to find out most likely who's going to be in the runoff. And Darlene Graham Nodine has been the person out front. I think Ralph Norman is coming in at a close second. Russell Fry is in there. Oh, God, I got an itch, sorry. Russell Fry is in there, and Mark Sanford and Mark Lynch. So there's really the top 5 candidates that have gotten the most oxygen. There are a lot of other candidates, but unfortunately they are not getting much oxygen. And because the primary is so short, primary time has been so short, there hasn't been a lot of time to include. There have been some stump meetings and this type of thing, nothing in our area. So as we head toward Tuesday, tomorrow's Republican special primary, and last week I had the opportunity to have former Governor Mark Sanford. We've been following his race and his candidates, and I wanted you to hear a portion of that conversation again before Election Day. And I do this because so many people have said, I like Mark Sanford, and then put a but right there. So I want to play this. You know, he went to the State House last week and repeated his piggy analogy. That's right. He returned to the State House with 2 pigs. What do you call them? Debt and deficit. Those were little pigs. And then he had a 400-pound pig on a trailer. So Mark Sanford, I think, has a lot of possibilities. And so this is why I wanted to play that for you one more time right here so you could actually hear what he had to say in his own words. So let's see if we can go ahead and get him on the screen here so you can... Nope, not that one. There you go, Mark Sanford. Let's play that right here on WCRS Radio. Take it away. This is just a 4-minute clip, I think. It's a little hard to hear, so listen up. Here you go. Take it away.
16 years old, and it's 300,000. I ended up borrowing that one from a friend. But anyway, I took it to this place. I have a...
Okay, I just want to tell you I didn't catch that first question, but what I did ask him in his Facebook post where he was going through town, and that was a week ago Friday that he did this through all the different towns. He came to Brewster's, and the first question I asked him, where's that old dilapidated truck that you said you were going to drive around? And he said this is what he said. Take it away.
16 years old, and it's 300,000. I ended up borrowing that one from a friend. But anyway, I took it to this place. I have a logistics business, and I took it. Yeah, I took it to them, and they're like, Mark, this is not a good idea. You're going to be sitting on the side of the road.
Well, then you could be stopping traffic, Mark. Mark.
And so anyway, borrowed that truck from a buddy of mine. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to having you on the radio, but it is such a big field What do you think? How are you going to stand out?
I think that at the end of the day, merit matters in politics.
Right.
And I think at the end of the day, the statistics I just cited to them of actually look at the numbers during the 8 years I was governorship. We did something that a lot of conservatives would want on holding the line on spending. And so you begin to stack those things up on, what we did in land conservation, what we did at DMV offices, moving wait times from 66 minutes down to 15. There are just a lot of things that, particularly when you talk to voters who are around. In fairness, there are a lot of new folks here.
Right.
But folks who are around say, well, you know what? The number of people today who said, you were a good governor, you were a good congressman. I think cumulatively that matters. So I think that a record of accomplishment matters, particularly given the gravity of the issues that are coming our way.
I think you're right. It's just it's hard to make a lot of noise.
Yeah, exactly right. With a lot of noise.
And you got a little baggage out there. I mean, let's just talk about it. There is a little baggage.
Sure. I know. But as you may remember, that following year and a half, I went on an apology tour because I felt so awkward and awful and ashamed and a lot of different things, to the point that people were like, "Shut up, we got it." But I would just say, it's a very humbling journey to go on. Because when I left the governorship, I thought politics was forever over for me, and that would not take a rocket scientist to think that. But oddly, within 2 years, I was back in the U.S. Congress, and it's a very humbling journey when the people who know you best along the coast say, look, Mark, you totally messed up. We don't approve of how you handle that chapter of life, but we know you and we trust you, and we'll send you back to U.S. Congress to represent it. That's a very humbling journey to be on. And so I would say, not in any way recommending the curriculum, but
I think you just like to run.
No. No, you're good. No, but what I would say is, I think you learn a lot more about life and about yourself in failure than you do in success.
That's true.
And the team that loses on Friday studies the game day tape a whole lot harder on Saturday morning than the team that won.
Right.
And so I would say for me, it's given me a level of empathy that I didn't have. And that applies to, the people I work with on a daily. I've built a logistics business over the last 6 years, and they're simple folks, but they're fantastic human beings. And so it's given me empathy to the least of these that maybe I had some blind spots before on, in terms of not properly appreciating some of the folks that work so hard for what they are, and it's given me empathy for just the frailty of being a human being. I mean, I used to read the paper, and I was always very low key, but in my mind I thought, moron, idiot, what were you thinking? Now I think, but by the grace of God go I. I'm going to worry about the log in my own eye before I worry about the splinter in theirs. It's changed my view on that. It's given me a level of humility that I thought I was, not really. Not until you've gone through sort of public failure do you really get humbled. And I think that makes you a better listener. If you can empathize more and you're a bit more humble, I think it gives you, frankly,
we're both retired.
A better ability to listen, which ultimately can make you a better leader. So it is the elephant in the room. And I'd say there's some good things that come with it. I mean, the story of Jacob and Joseph in the Bible, only because all these horrendous things happen, does he end up at the right spot to do a whole lot of good. I don't know if that's going to be, I'm not saying that's my story, but I'm saying I've learned a lot of things in failure that I didn't know in success.
Absolutely. Well, Mark Sanford, thanks so much for talking to me. I look forward to having you on the radio, hopefully this week.
Yes, ma'am. Can't
all
wait.
Right. Thank you.
And you're coordinated with him.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Good to see you.
All right. Well, that was my interview at Brewster's. There was a lot of background noise, I know, but I thought it was thoughtful. You can take what you want to take out of it, but it was thoughtful. And if you watched any of the debates, I think Mark Sanford was heads above everybody else for the knowledge and the ability to put it across, to articulate it, was very important. So, my only advice is if you like Mark Sanford stand up for him. If you don't like Mark Sanford, then vote for who you want to vote for. But I've talked to a lot of people that are saying, well, I'd like to vote for Mark Sanford, but everybody else is blah, blah, blah. Don't follow the crowd. Be an individual. Make your vote count. That's what I have to say. But please, more than anything else, get out there tomorrow and vote. Polls will be open from 7 to 7. Do check, because your regular precinct place is not available, because if it was in a school, it's not available. A lot have been moved to churches and whatnot. You can check that out. You can call, I guess you can call the polling, but you also can check out, I'm sure they have updated for this election. I haven't checked it, but I'm sure they have scvotes.gov, scvotes.gov, I believe. Put your name in and they will tell you right where you need to vote, I believe. If not, of course, you can call our local precinct here, and I'm sure there will be signs and whatnot out there too to make sure you're directed to the right place. So that's my discussion on voting. It does happen tomorrow, 7 to 7. Don't miss this opportunity to support who you think is the best candidate for the job. Now, Penny says about this that, do you have anything to say about voting this morning? No, I don't care about voting. I care about food. When are you going to feed me? Okay, we'll get back to you in just a minute. Now, here we are, moving on out here today. I wanted to discuss some things that I'll bet you didn't know. Did you know today is August 10th, and back on August 10th, 1948, Candid Camera debuted on television after beginning on radio as the Candid Microphone. Now, I think that I didn't ever know this. I did not know that the Candid Microphone was a deal. Let's see. I think I got it right here. Hold on a second. Okay. Sorry. The Candid Microphone is an American radio program that was broadcast on ABC from June 28, 1947 until September 23, 1948, and on CBS from June 6, 1950 until August 29, 1950. It was adapted for television as Candid Camera. Did you know this? I mean, a lot of radio shows became TV shows. We all know that. But I never realized there was a show, The Candid Microphone. And it says that creator Alan Funt said the concept for the Candid Microphone came to him while he was in the Army. As he read a complaint column in the magazine Yank, the Army Weekly, he thought that it would be interesting to record something like that. At Camp Gruber in Oklahoma, he created a gripe booth. I think maybe we need to bring the gripe booth back. Instead of having it all on social media, it only happens in one place. Okay. In which soldiers could record their complaints. Funt knew, however, that people often become nervous in the presence of a microphone, so he considered the possibility of recording comments secretly with a hidden microphone and telling them about the recording afterwards. This, to me, is where it gets really interesting. When he launched the program, though, his efforts were limited by the size and weight of recording equipment. The wire recorders that were available back in 1947, 1948, then weighed more than 100 pounds. You know, today we see people standing there with these teeny microphones holding it to their mouth to speak. But back then, the wire recorders weighed more than 100 pounds. He began by renting a 15-foot floor office in Grand Central Station with microphones hidden in one room, set up as an office, and the recording equipment in the adjacent room. At least 15 microphones were concealed in the office, and he pressed a button to signal an engineer in the other room to begin recording. However, it wasn't very long before 27-pound, that's still a lot, 27-pound portable recorders became available. Font moved his activities out of the office, hiding the recorder in a travel bag or something similar, and hiding the microphone on his body or treating it as a hearing aid. He spurred reactions to people by pretending to be a shoe salesman and saying that he had lost one of his shoes. The customer wore in, asking a salesperson in a candy store to mash on a chocolate candies to determine which ones contain nuts and other activities. So this was the beginning of Candid Camera. And by the way, participants were allowed to listen to their recording of part of their program, and they had to consent to the use of the material on the air. How different is today? Their names were not used in the broadcast. Most victims of pranks were good sports and gave permission for their comments to be broadcast. Compensation usually ranked from $5 to $15, sometimes reaching $25 for obstinate cases. So now you know how Candid Camera got started. It started as the Candid Microphone. You know, you think about all the changes, and one thing comes to my mind. Remember the bag phone was the first portable phone, and you hold that thing around with you, or you set it up in your car, the bag phone, and now we have things that weigh, what, I don't know, 5 or 6 ounces, maybe less, I don't know. Very lightweight and very capable of doing so many things. Well, back in the day, Candid Microphone, they weighed over 100 pounds, and they got it down to 27 pounds before Candid Camera came in. Now, I just thought that was a fascinating story and a little history that we really needed to hear this morning. So, I don't know. What do you think? Is that a good story? 864-332-9355. Or, of course, you can join me right here on Facebook Live at WCRS Radio. So I thought that was fun. All right, another fun story here. Something you might want to consider for your pleasure today is what else today is. National S'mores Day. This is important. The graham cracker, marshmallow, and chocolate. And Penny said to me that she would like to cover this segment, and she'd like to cover it by having the first s'mores of the day. Unfortunately, we did not get started early enough for me to make her own s'mores, except, of course, Penny, as a dog, cannot have chocolate, so we could do the marshmallow and the graham cracker, and I'm not sure I'd do that either. But anyways, so make some s'mores tonight on National S'mores Day. Also, I think this is very important. It is National Lazy Day. This one, you are allowed to be lazy, according to National Lazy Day. It's the national most unlikely to be properly observed by Ann Eller. That's true. I have a full schedule today, as I do every day. But apparently, we are supposed to slow down, delegate something, and take a mental break today. So maybe I'll be able to do that in 2028. 2029, 2030, maybe so. So, I also want to tell you, in my effort to keep things interesting and keep you informed, today at 1:45, Sherry Biggs will be in studio with me. We are going to do a Facebook Live pop-up interview. We will not, I repeat, we will not be live on the radio. Clay and Buck are on, and I am not going to interrupt Clay and Buck. So, if you'd like to see that, you can definitely watch it right here on Facebook Live, WCRS Radio. By the way, a lot of people think you have to be a member of Facebook to be able to watch a video. You do not. You would simply go to, facebook.com/WCRS. I think you could do WCRS Radio or WCRS 98.5 FM. and /WCRS 1450 AM, and it'll take you right to my page, and you can watch it right there. So she is supposed to be in studio today. This is not on the telephone. This is an in-studio interview at 1:45 today. Hope you'll be able to tune in for that. I think that would be, I'm looking forward to that. She does have her Salute to Liberty next Monday. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of the votes and some of the things that Sherry has been working on. Sherry really has become, if you check her out on any of national TV, she's become quite a spokesperson for on national TV and national programs. And I think that's pretty cool for someone that had no recognition when she first became a representative for District 3. But pretty interesting, the heights that she's already risen to. And she's just completing, her first term. So she's up for re-election for her second term. So as we get ready to close all this out, I want to say this. Think about this. In 1948, television audiences were amazed that a hidden camera could capture people when they didn't know they were being watched. 78 years later, we're discussing artificial intelligence, listening to emergency calls. Technology has certainly come a long way, baby. The question is whether we're always quite sure what we want, where we want it to take us. Isn't that the truth? Sometimes you long for going back to a time where we had less technology, right? But all these things, starting in 1948, isn't it amazing? Starting in 1948, candid microphone had already been on the air. Candid camera came in. Today you have, back in the day, we all thought we had a reasonable possibility of privacy. Today, the young people growing up, they know they have no privacy. And I think in a lot of ways that's sad. That is sad. So has technology taken us in a direction we wanted to go? If we could do it again, would we have made the twists and turns that we have? It's too late. It's too late now, baby. But would we have made some different choices along the way? I think that is the question of the day. Would we have made some other choices if we'd had the opportunity? So there's always something going on, whether we're talking about local, technology, ethics, election, nostalgia, fun, and of course Penny. And Penny does look gorgeous today. Would you like to sit up and show the people how gorgeous you are? No, not really. Okay. Well, shall we just, there she is, Princess Penny. Looking gorgeous, looking beautiful. It's such a hard responsibility, isn't it, Penny? All right, that's going to do it for us. Don't forget to tune in 1:45 on Facebook Live for my interview with Sherry Biggs. If you do not catch it, we most likely are going to put that in tomorrow afternoon on Meet Me at the Diner. Wednesday, we are going to be talking to Rosemary Bell about the upcoming Greater Greenwood United Ministries big event coming up on the 22nd. On Thursday, we'll be talking with Lisa Sanders with Greenwood Performing Arts about their great reveal, what the new show season's going to look like, what they're working on, how things have changed over there at Greater Greenwood United, at Greenwood Performing Arts. So make sure that you tune us in 5 to 6 all 3 days. Know that you can always go back and listen to any of these shows, this one included, right there on Facebook Live, but you can also hear it on, well, why don't you put yourself in the picture, Ann? Okay. You can also, there you go, you got Penny and me. You can also listen to it Spotify. We put all our interviews up there on Spotify, and whatever, Apple Podcasts. We've got it on that. And we also are on the website, WCRS 1450 AM. If you go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you do have to put in a girl and her mic. Everything we do is lumped under that. So a girl and her mic is where to find those. And follow me, because you never know when something exciting will happen, and we'll pop right up. And you can also follow me as Anne, Anne, Eller, ELLER. For the most entertainment, the most person that tries to keep you mostly informed with the stuff that's actually happening in Greenwood, tune me in or follow me. That's what I'd love for you to do. This is WCRS. If you're going to be with us on Facebook, 1:45 this afternoon, we will be there. Hope you will be too. And that is going to do it for me, the snack dealer, and for Penny, the snack stealer. Take it away. Put the curtain down. Cue the music. Have a great day, everybody. This is WCRS Radio.